Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio for the match review of AC Milan against Empoli. Match that finished 2-1 for Empoli at the San Siro in very disgusting circumstances. Just an awful game for Milan all around. Going into this match with the wrong mentality from the first moment. We actually had a couple of good chances in the early goings, but nothing really threatening for Skorupski. But other than that, the mentality going into this match against the team that scored the least amount of goals in the Serie A this season is definitely a very embarrassing statistic by itself. You know, to allow 2 goals like this to Empoli, with all due respect, they played their game, and once again, as it seems to be the case for many of these matches whenever Milan plays these lower table teams, it always seems to be that these teams find a way to impose their tactics on Milan. We saw it with Pescara. We saw it even with Palermo at times before we eventually broke through them. And honestly speaking, it's just the same case game after game. And what I mean by this is that we are always subject to this inconsistency that no matter how much we talk about it, no matter how many times we say that it needs to be fixed, changes need to be made, and simply it seems like it will never change. I don't know, it's like something that, it's a virus that's stuck in this Milan team from years ago, and no matter how good they might play in a given day, trust me, they are incapable of replicating such performances. And like I said on Twitter today, I think our luck pretty much ran out today because we had a few games where we were lucky to get some points. We saw it against Inter last week with that 2-2 draw. And overall, we saw it with many other games this season. But simply speaking, I just think that we didn't do good enough. We honestly shot ourselves in the feet again. And there's honestly no excuse. No excuse whatsoever. No excuse to say, Empoli was the better team. We cannot say that. We cannot say Empoli, a team that's battling for relegation. I know they're safe at the moment, but a team that's really so low in the standings, a team that only had managed to win 2 games away from home this season, a team that only managed to score 8 goals, guys, 8 goals away from home this season, come to the San Siro, score 2 goals on us, and get the 3 points. To me, that is absolutely disgusting. We'll be going to speak about the players in particular. But before I get into that, joining me today is Pietro. Pietro, disappointing match for sure this morning. What were your initial thoughts after today's performance?
I'm embarrassed. I'm disgusted. I'm disappointed. All of the above. I just get frustrated when I wake up and I see this kind of stuff from Milan. This is not what you want to see when a team is pushing for the Europa League against a relegation battling team, coming to your house and taking 3 points away from you, and not just 3 points away from you, but the manner in which we played was just so disappointing. I'm continuously disappointed. I go from these crazy highs with Milan to these really lows, and I just don't understand. I don't understand the inconsistency in this team.
Yeah, that's exactly my case. Like every time, it's just a real roller coaster ride for Milan. Every time they just know how to play with your emotions. It's like you said, we're always reaching new highs, and then all of a sudden we're just reaching the ultimate lows, and it's just always a roller coaster ride with this team. I don't know why that's the case, and why we are incapable, why we are struggling against these teams. But like I said before, there's absolutely no excuse to drop points against Empoli, especially at home at the San Siro.
Yeah,
And at the same time, you have to say, who was the hungrier team today? We saw Milan getting lots of chances, but Empoli, those few chances that they had, they put them to bed. And
that's the difference.
And that's pretty much the difference. How many times do we say this season as well, Pietro, that, Milan, it's not a team that doesn't get their chances in the game, because they definitely do. but their finishing is just horrible. We saw it
Yeah.
today on a number of occasions. Suso, I think he had 4 or 5 tries in those opening 20 minutes. Even if you take a look at the goal attempts, 29 to 11. 29 attempts, guys, and we only managed to get 1 goal out of it. That to me is just horrendous. Horrendous. What kind of, accuracy is that? Not to speak, of course, of Suso's penalty shot, in which I think we could all agree that it was poorly taken. But it actually makes no sense whatsoever. And like we were saying before, Pietro, every time you try to relate these performances to something, every time you try to make sense out of it, it just seems like logic and common sense don't go well with Milan. It's not a word that you could associate with Milan because it's very, very different than what Milan really is. And it just frustrates me from time to time again. And I honestly don't understand what the problem with this team is. But let's speak about the actual team performance now. Donnarumma today, I guess you could say he was a bit not very, it wasn't really his fault considering the goals. I think the first goal he had absolutely no chance on that set piece, and I think it was more of a problem with the center backs. I think it was Zapata wrongly marking the Empoli player, and the second goal, it was pretty close range, so I don't think Donnarumma had really any chance to do any miracle there. But he did pull out some great saves, like we saw one on Macarone there near the end. But let's speak about this defense. We saw Calabria, Zapata, Paletta, and Sciglio all playing today. Romagnoli, for those asking, was not included in the team selection. Originally, I believe he was called up and he was on the bench watching the match, but it seems like he picked up a knock on his knee, and therefore Montella and the rest of the Milan staff, wanted to keep him out for precaution reasons. So that's pretty much why Romagnoli didn't play today and why we saw Paletta with Zapata again. And I think we can reconfirm the topic of Romagnoli being needed there in that defense on a consistent basis, because he's definitely
without him, we're lost.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more consistent players, a player that needs to be there every game. And we saw that today with Paletta and Zapata. Oftentimes, it seemed like I was watching a Serie B match with that type of defending. Not to speak about the Sciglio, which I believe you have a few words to say there, Pietro. So go for it.
Yeah, I just want to put this out there in the beginning that I've been a fan of Sciglio for a long time, and I've told you, G, I even own his jersey for the national team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm beyond disappointed with what has come about of Sciglio over the years. There was such promise around this kid, and there was such hope for this kid, and he coming from our youth system. And I never thought I would say this, but I can't imagine one of our youth products going to Juve. But at this point, after I've seen what I've seen consistently from him, I'm done. I'm over it. I don't feel like he contributes enough offensively, and even defensively, he doesn't do it for me. But more importantly, overall on Sciglio, I feel like the armband does not deserve to be on his arm, or he doesn't deserve the armband on his arm. Rather, I'm disgusted with the selection of the captain. I mean, you need to be a certain type to be a captain, and not only do you need to lead by example on the field, but you need to be the one picking your team up when it's matches like this that the captain makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to rally your troops up and say, hey, let's get it together. Players like Gattuso, even Abate, I think is a good example of a good captain who plays with the heart. Players like Lapadula, players like Bonaventura, players like Donnarumma. There's so many other better options than Sciglio and even Montolivo for that case. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I just feel like the selection of captain to me just doesn't make any sense. I really don't understand it, and I don't think he's deserved of. There's been so many good captains to come down the line from Milan. From Baresi to Maldini to Ambrosini, even like all these guys were good examples of captains, and I don't know what in the hell has happened in the last couple of years, but the prestige of this club is being lost, and partly because of the captain too, because the armband is not on the right arm, and it's not the right guy on the field leading the team. And as far as the transfer goes, all these rumors about Sciglio leaving, I'm for it. I'm done. I know some people are going to disagree, and I accept that, but I'm done with it. I'm done with the Sciglio. He doesn't play the same for the national team or for Milan that he does for the national team. And if you can't bring that same quality that we know you have inside of you and bring it out of you when you're playing at San Siro for Milan in the red and black, then you know what? I don't want you there.
Yeah, exactly. And some people in the live comments are saying, from what I'm reading, the Sciglio should not be captain, but who else could be the captain? I don't think it's really a question of who else could be the captain. When I'm looking at the Sciglio, guys, and I've said this over and over again, today when he came off with that substitution that was made by Montella, every fan in that San Siro stadium was whistling him down. And I'm sorry to say this for those people that support the Sciglio day in, day out, because personally, ourselves, me and Pietro, we're some of the biggest Milan fans out there, and you guys know that already. But when there's a moment to criticize the team, or a player in particular, it needs to be done. And what I'm trying to say here is that, the Sciglio, he's been respected. Definitely he's been respected. He's been protected in terms of, I've said it many times, I always gave him a second chance. I've always given him a second chance. But the thing is, it's not really about him being the captain at Milan. It's just the way that he portrays himself on the pitch, okay? I cannot have a guy like De Sciglio. He's not that young anymore, guys. I could understand a guy that's 20 years old just getting introduced to the league. I could understand the deficiencies that a player like that could have. But now De Sciglio has been playing for what? 3-4 years at least? In Milan?
Yeah, at least.
I think he's, 24 by now? If I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. I think he was introduced at 18.
Yeah, so, it's not like you're just getting introduced to the league. He's a guy that has experience. Like we said, he's a player that has made it to the national team. We know his strengths. We know what he's capable of. But to come out on a weekly basis and not give it your all, because I know he's capable of more, and I said this a million times, that's what pisses me off about the Sciglio, is that I know he's capable of more. He might not be the most fearful player on the pitch. He might not be that guy that, you look at him and you want to kind of back out. But I know what he's capable of. I know he's capable of putting in a fight. I know that he's capable of being a good player for Milan. What it is for him not performing on a consistent basis, I don't know what it is. If it's his mentality, if it's his style of playing, I don't know what it is. But I'm not only criticizing the Sciglio for this game. There's definitely other players out there. But for those people that continue giving him another chance, he's still young, he's still this, he's still that. Guys, you can make all the excuses in the world you want for this guy, but I'm seeing the same De Sciglio of 2-3 years ago, a guy that's not improving, that's not getting better with age, that's not getting, more fearful for the opposition. He doesn't seem to be the player that, many people were hoping for at the beginning.
And Joe, even if he improves technically and tactically, the thing is his character does not match. When you're when your team is down 2-0 at home, and you're getting substituted, and you're walking off the pitch with your head down in disappointment and embarrassment, and rightly so, you should be the one with your head up, clapping and riling your guys up and saying, let's go, let's get it together, even if you are being the one being subbed. No, he's coming off the field with his head down in disappointment and embarrassment like a little girl. Like, get your head up, dude, let's go, man. Like, you got to have that fighting spirit in you. I just don't see it in him. And as much as I want to like him, being an Italian fullback for us, I can't. I just can't. I don't see it in him.
And like some people are saying in the comments, Benny4526, he says, look how the Sciglio's body language when he came off was, how it was. He didn't even look like he tried today, and he walked straight past Montella in a rude manner. I think he was pretty much disappointed with his performance as well, but to be disappointed is, something that anyone could do. Like, I could be disappointed about today's game. What could I possibly change about it? Nothing, because I have no control over what's going to happen in the game. But a player like De Sciglio that plays, yes, you can be disappointed for one game. I didn't play my best today. But next game, I'll come back stronger. I'll put more effort. I'll be sure to get my team where they need to be. I don't see that from De Sciglio. It's not only him, like I'm stressing. It's not only him. Definitely not only him the problem, but
It starts with him.
it starts with him, and we're specifically speaking about him because to give the armband to someone that's has no character, no physical presence, nothing to me. Like, I look at the Sciglio, like I was saying to Pietro before. If I didn't follow Milan, if I didn't even follow Calcio, and I was simply turning on my TV, watching a game, and I would see the Sciglio being the captain, I would question myself. Just his physical presence, his image, to me, does not make him a captain.
That's exactly it. When you know, like you said, Joe, his image, what he brings. I mean, if you don't have your captain pumping you up, who's gonna pump the team up? You know, if you're a player, I'm sure everybody that's on this stream right now is listening, and I'm sure most of them are either soccer players or have played in their time or whatnot competitively, or played some sort of sport or some sort of athlete. But if you have your captain that's not displaying a leadership quality, what are you supposed to do? How are you going to get yourself going? It takes that captain to lift you. We've all had our captains in sports as we played as kids and whatnot. And you know what? If you don't have that captain leadership, it's hard to lift the team. And that's what they're there for. Not just their ability to play on the field, but also their leadership qualities. And if you don't have these leadership qualities, then you don't deserve an armband. I'm sorry. And I know I'm not the one to make this decision, but as soon as the sooner we change the armband, the better. And not to Montolivo.
Yeah. And honestly speaking, I just hope, there's nothing more to do than just hope. But, losing like this to Empoli, guys, getting back to the match, is, you can't make any sense out of it. You honestly cannot make any sense out of this. It's an embarrassment. It's a real embarrassment. These guys want to make it to Europe. These guys want to make it to Europe in this fashion. For what? We're going to go there and embarrass ourselves playing like this? Guys, I'd rather not freaking make it and keep playing in the Serie A at this point if we have to play like this. Why do we always have to leave it till the last 15-20 minutes for us to actually get something going? Why? Why? Why are we not the team that we saw against Palermo every day? That's the only time that I saw Milan being menacing from start to end. The only game I've seen all season for Milan in that regard. Every other game, for 32 games, it's always been ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs, and never consistent. It's either you play for 10 minutes, you play for 15 minutes, and then you stop for half an hour. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what it is.
You can't have this inconsistency. It's impossible. If you're gonna play to qualify.
Look at all the best teams out there. And I'm not saying we're the best team out there, but take a look at the top teams. You don't even have to go look in Europe. Take a look at Juventus. Take a look at Napoli. These guys, even though they get losses at times, who cares? They'll still play from start to end. And that's all I want from Milan. Yes, at the end, I'm not saying we are the Invincibles. We cannot lose games, because clearly we could. But what I'm trying to say is, if you put the effort from start to end, that's already a big start. Okay? And I'm not seeing that with Milan. Even the game against Inter where we tied it 2-2, besides those last 10-15 minutes, what else did we do that game? And I can name you like another 10 games this season like that. At least. At least.
You can't have this you can't have this. And this has been the story. And I love Montella, and I want to see him there next year too. But this is something I feel like can improve from his side too. Mm-hmm. The pressing, and again, this comes from the leadership on the bench and comes from the leadership on the field. These guys need to be pressing from the start, especially like a team against Empoli. You should close this game, able to just defend it and not have to work so hard in the second half. It's always a second half performance from us that we need to come back and luckily this year we've been getting away with a lot of it. We've been picking up a lot of points at the very end. The last 25 minutes of the game, we've been saving our asses, and it's been working, which is great. And that's why we haven't talked about it as much as we should have been. Mm-hmm. But we're leaving it way too late. Way too late. This cannot be these performances way too late. Milan are an experienced team in Serie A, and they know that when they come against these teams that are close to the relegation zone like Empoli are, that they're going to come to the San Siro. They're going to try to defend as long as they can. They're going to break on the counter. They get a goal. They're going to sit back, and now guess what? Now you have hell for the next hour.
Well, that's exactly the case with the game against Inter last week. I was definitely happy with the way we tied the game, but it's like, besides those 10-15 minutes at the end, we didn't do much. It's like saying, you have a final exam tomorrow and you're only going to study like 3 hours before the exam. Like, obviously, that's not going to get you the result you definitely want. It's
Yeah.
pretty much the same context. A few comments on the midfield and the forwards, Pietro. The midfield today we saw Pasalic, Sosa, and Matty Fernandez out there. Even though that's not the best midfield that you could possibly see in the Serie A, it should still be able to get the job done against Empoli. And
100%.
and once again, I think it was a pretty embarrassing showing. Paslic did a few things. Jose Sosa, he was alright. Matty Fernandez tried as well, but you cannot say they had a convincing performance at all.
No, it started from the back, and then the midfield was inexistent too. I would say they were not there. I mean, honestly, the Regista role needs work. I hope they bring in somebody in the summer where they could have a solid replacement for Jose Sosa, because he's kind of inconsistent too, as is Locatelli, and I guess that's the best options we have right now. But when we're not controlling the ball in the middle of the park and moving the ball with fluidity, there's nothing you can work around. If the midfield is not working, good luck in the ball to the strikers, because they're not going to come back and dribble from midfield.
Mm-hmm. And speaking about the forwards, we saw Suso, Lapadula finally getting his chance today, and Deulofeu playing from the start. Suso, we said it before, lots of chances for him. Should have done more. Should have scored that penalty shot. Absolutely diabolical, in my opinion, to take a penalty shot in that sort of way. I understand he wanted to take it right down the middle, but you and I, Pietro, we know it very well. Those penalty shots, it's either you choose a side, or if you're gonna go down the middle, like you were telling me before, you gotta make sure you smash it right in. And
Exactly.
it's not only Suso. I've been watching games all over the Serie A this past weekend. And man, the quality of the penalty shots has just been so degrading. So degrading. I saw Bernardeschi yesterday.
I feel like they're taking note from Zaza in the Euros. These guys
Man,
all nervous.
It's actually pretty worrying. Who else missed a penalty shot today? I remember I think the Cagliari, the Cagliari keeper saved one as well today. Anyways, the quality of the penalty shots is just being horrendous. And when Suso stepped up, I personally was feeling confident. I was like, okay, Bacca's not here. That's okay. Who's gonna take it? Lapadula, Deulofeu. Suso is like one of our best shooters. But
if as far as accuracy is concerned, he is our top specialist there. As far as accuracy is concerned, I was not expecting.
That's what I'm trying to say. This guy has accuracy, yet he was not capable of picking a side.
It almost looked like he wanted to chip it, and then he changed his mind at the last second and just kind of hit it, because it was like seriously, all of us could have shot a better shot than that, and he knows that. He made a mistake, and I don't want to harp too much on Suso, because he has saved our ass on countless times and had great performances. Overall, I would say if you had to rate him 1 through 10 over the season, I'd give him a good 8 or 9 for sure. He's been fantastic. But and I accept his miss. If it was back, I think I'd be telling a different story here. But we missed it, and it was a poor penalty. But you know what? I don't blame Suso, because we should have put the game away a long time ago. This shouldn't even have been relying on a penalty, because we got lucky to even get that penalty, because the ball was going away from goal. The Empoli keeper had a great match, and then he made a stupid mistake on Pasalic. They should have never give that penalty away. And if we would have came back and drew it, I would have been happy that we got the 2 points. But in my head, I'm going to be thinking, why do we have to scrape by Empoli? Why do we have to get a penalty? Why do we need the referee to tie Empoli?
Yeah, exactly, and that's often the case. I'm not even kidding you. I think 5 minutes before that penalty shot, I was telling my brother, I think Milan's gonna get something funny very, very soon, because that's always the case. Every freaking time, man, it's always the case.
Yep.
And
if we can't crack a team, we look for the PK.
Yeah, it's always the case, and that's exactly what happened. But taking a look at the standings, guys, 5 games remaining. Things are definitely not looking good for the direct qualification into the group stages of the Europa League. We are currently 6 points away from Lazio. They are standing in 4th place. Atalanta, we're 5 points away from them. They're standing in 5th with 63 points. And, as the games go by, the less chance you have of closing that gap with these teams. And at the moment, for example, Lazio need what, 3 wins out of 5 games, 3 wins out of the last 5 games to secure their spot. So they're playing Roma next week, and Atalanta's playing Juve. That's the only good thing that I could tell you about next week. We're playing Crotone, but then again, we're playing Crotone. What does that mean? Like, does it mean we
It
should
means
go?
it's a fight. That's what it means.
Yeah, and not to mention that Crotone hasn't lost in their past 4 games. They have actually got three wins out of the last 4 games. So
They won against Sampdoria.
yeah, they won against Sampdoria today, and they definitely want to get out of that relegation zone. So not going to be an easy task. It's a game we cannot afford to drop points.
Let's not forget they just beat Inter too.
Yeah, they're on a streak. They're definitely on a streak. They're doing very well, and it's a game that we need to win. It's a game that we definitely need to win. Inter's also playing Napoli, so next weekend, I mean, we have, in terms of schedule, we have a very big advantage over our competitors, and we have to make sure we get those 3 points because there's definitely going to be some teams dropping points next week, and we need to take the advantage of that. Inter's playing Napoli.
Oh, Inter Napoli, okay.
Inter Napoli, Atalanta is playing Juventus, and Lazio is playing against Roma. So lots of very interesting games next weekend, that's for sure. But like I said, we need to take advantage of that. One last word I wanted from you, Pietro, regarding Lapadula and Bacca. Lapadula got the goal, obviously. Bacca came on, once again, being his old self, missing easy chances. We saw him missing a few chances right in front of the net there, not being able to link up with the ball. What do you make of this scenario? Would you prefer to see Lapadula starting in these last 5 games, or at least getting more playing time, or would you still go with Bacca?
No, not at all. I like Lapadula, what he brings to the table. I like that. He doesn't have as much quality as Bacca when Bacca's on his game, but he's more involved than Bacca is, as we've talked about many times on Rossoneri TV, and he's way more involved. He plays with his heart, and you know what? I'd rather have a guy that doesn't score that plays with his heart than a guy that doesn't play with his heart and doesn't score. You know what I mean?
Very, very true. Very true.
You know, you're going to be involved in the play. You're going to be even if you don't score, I don't even care. As long as you contribute and you create chances for yourself and for your teammates, and you play with your heart, and you know when Lapadula's there, he's gonna get his chances and he's gonna try his best. With Bacca, you just don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know if he's gonna be this lazy Bacca, or you don't know if he's gonna be the focused Bacca that's clinical in front of the net. And honestly, I'd rather have Lapadula, and hopefully we could bring in a big striker in the summer and be able to complement Lapadula, or have Lapadula still come off the bench and use him as a super sub. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm also done with Bacca. Certain players I want out this summer. I'm not going to get it too far into it, but if Bacca and Sciglio left, I wouldn't be too hurt.
I completely agree with those points. Like you said there, Bacca and Sciglio for me could very well be gone. It's funny that we actually saw Honda today making an appearance. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what? This guy's still alive? The only time I see him is whenever Milan scores and he joins in the celebrations. But besides that, I was like, what? Honda coming on for Suso like that? It was just so funny. Yeah. But he actually had a good chance. He made a very good pass there to Paslic, I think it was. I'm not sure what a good chance that was at the end, but
that was a good block by the defender too. He saved that goal because Paslic was in on net.
Yeah, definitely a very good block. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the match review. Thank you so much for joining me today. Once again, my apologies for not having the watch along. Unfortunately, personal reasons couldn't make it happen today. But stay tuned to Rossoneri TV. Lots more videos coming out, possibly this coming week. I know a lot of you guys want updates concerning news, transfers going on, future projects going on in the works for Milan. So rest assured, I will be recapping all of this in the days to come. So make sure you subscribe to Rossoneri TV. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated with everything going on at the club. Pietro, thank you again for joining me today. Always great insight. And yeah.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. See you soon. As always, Forza Milan.